Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Well, good morning. The time being 9 a.m, I declare open the general meeting for the Gladstone Regional Council for Tuesday the 16th of January 2024. A call for apologies. We have no apologies. We do have Councillor Churchill who is teamsing in online, so thank you, Councillor Churchill. So the next item on the agenda, councillors, is our messages of condolence. Do we have any messages of condolence? No messages of condolence. The next item on the agenda is prior notifications of conflicts of interest. Tanya, any registered?
No, Mayor.
Councillors, any that you'd like to raise now? No? And then the next item on the agenda is G1, which is the Mayor's statement on current issues. And I'd like to start by acknowledging our events team again for the amazing work they did at the New Year's Eve event over, obviously, New Year's Eve, and of course our Festival of Summer event happening throughout the school holidays. The New Year's Eve event was a huge success. We got the 8 o'clock fireworks off on time, but unfortunately rain came just before the midnight fireworks, and we had to sort of call it quits a bit early. But my understanding is most people made their way into town and had a good night as well. So well done to the team for organising that event. And of course, Festival of Summer, a huge success again with keeping our kids entertained in that last section of the school holidays. And the Festival of Summer Sounds was another, well, it's a big success this year actually. Previously we've struggled to get numbers, but this year it seemed to be a bit of a success at the Entertainment Convention Centre, wrapping up the Festival of Summer. So well done to everyone involved, and I thank you, Kylie, and your team for what you do keeping everyone entertained over the Christmas holidays. Of course, coming up, we have our Australia Day citizenship ceremony and our Australia Day Awards, the Gladstone Region Australia Day Awards. They'll be held at the Gladstone Entertainment Convention Centre, and of course we'll be welcoming 43 new Australian citizens at that event, naming our Citizen of the Year, our Young Citizen of the Year, our Sport and Recreation Award, our Young People Sport and Recreation Award, the Arts and Cultural Award, the Community Event Award and Community Volunteer Award, and the Mayor's Community Champion and the Mayor's Young Community Champion will also be announced this year as well. So that's at the Gladstone Entertainment Convention Centre, as traditionally held on the night before Australia Day. And of course, on Australia Day, we have huge events right across the region. The big regional event will be happening at Millennium Esplanade. It's our Family Fun Day. That's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. 1,000 free sausage sizzles, and there's lots of entertainment and Aussie games and activities to get involved with there as well. We also have the Australia Day charity match at Captain Creek. That's from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. We'll get the dates and times right. 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The Australia Day breakfast at Bullion Many Peaks Community Development Association Hall, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And Turkey Beach are having a breakfast at the hall as well from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. And there's so many other events across the region as well. The Miriam Vale Bowls Club and Hotel are having events. Agnes Water Tavern, Harvey Road Tavern, Ward's Brewery. I'm sure you'll find an event to keep your Australia Day entertained in the Gladstone region. Very happy to celebrate that event. Of course, we also, as I said, have many other events, but check Facebook for more of those. On the 27th, the day after, we have the Bulls, Boots and Barbecue rodeo at the Calliope Rodeo Grounds. That's 1 p.m, gates open, and there's more information on their website as well. Make sure you check out the Calliope Bulls, Boots and Rodeo. And of course, the next event, the big event in the region for February will be the Blues, Roots and Rock Festival in Agnes Water, 1770. Make sure you get involved in that. 16th of February to the 18th of February, and tickets are available online. So that's certainly one not to miss. And I'm looking forward to being there this year with you, Councillor O'Grady. You've opened it for us the last couple of years, so I'm hoping I'll be on stage with you. I'll be just back in time to get onto the stage with you, I think, to that one. So we'll open that event, as I said, on the Friday night on the 16th of February. And, councillors, that's the Mayor's statement on current issues. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is G2.1, the confirmation of the general meeting minutes of the 19th of December. Have a mover, please. Move Councillor Branthwaite, seconded Councillor O'Grady. All in favour? Motion's carried. We have no deputations this morning, councillors, so the next item on the agenda is council officer reports, and our first officer report is G4.1, the renaming of a council asset infrastructure, Neil Road, Rosedale, and I'll hand over to the General Manager of Customer Experience, Customer Experience, Rob Huth.
Thank you, Mr Mann. Good morning, councillors. Council received the application to rename Neil's Road to Neil Road with 2 L's. The applicant states the name has been spelled incorrectly and believes the road was intended to be named after the Neils family, who have a long-standing history in the area. The application was assessed against Council's naming of infrastructure assets, corporate standard and policy, and was deemed not compliant against 4 of the 5 relevant criteria. There are 18 properties fronting Neil's Road, and the applicant gained 8 signatures from the 18. However, because of how the applicant worded their survey, it's a little bit unclear to us as to whether all who signed the survey actually support the proposal. Council then sought feedback from the remaining 10 residents and received 1 approval, 4 disapprovals and 5 no responses. And the officer's recommendation is to decline the application.
Thanks, Rob. This is one that we held over from last year. Obviously, from my point of view, if we got it wrong in the first place, we probably should get it right. But I also note the comments from the residents about the effort it's for them to have their street changed. So I'm interested to hear councillor thoughts, please. I think councillor Churchill, this came from you, so let's go with you first.
I'm happy to support the request from the residents because from my investigation and also at the same time in discussions with previous councillors from the Miriamvale Shire Council, the intent was to have the two L's in there. And from what I understand, and it's on the agenda, that the family themselves have even gone back and researched the information through our art gallery and museum from the history. So the original intent was to acknowledge and recognise the pioneering family, which was the Neil family, N-E-I-L-L. So as far as I'm concerned, I actually can't support the officer's recommendation, even though it is in compliance with the policy. I think we need to correct that part of history to make sure that it does reflect the original intent of the Miriamvale Shire Council, and at the same time the original intent of acknowledging and recognising the pioneering family in that part of the Gladstone region with the two L's.
Thank you, councillor Churchill. Any other comments, please? Councillor Hanson.
Yeah, just I concur with what councillor Churchill's saying. The road, the name is significant in that area of that part of the region, and it's spelt N-E-I-L-L, and I would be against the motion as such to call it that. I'd notice also that in it's the confidential part of our community consultation. The letter we sent out for consultation, and it says, I'm writing this letter to ask if the changing of spelling Neil Road to Neil Road, from N-E-I-L to N-E-I-L-L Road, would it all affect your living or mail delivery to your address? And it says after that, if you could please sign and attach the form if you agree to change the name to the correct spelling. So we've acknowledged that is the correct spelling to the residents. So I believe that it should be N-E-I-L-L.
That wasn't from us, that was from the resident.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, well, I stand corrected.
Yeah. But, yeah, I read it too, and I actually went to...
I thought it was from us, so I stand corrected. So,
I'm happy to move that it be N-E-I-L-L, and if councillor Hanson's prepared to second it, we can get on with it.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. I've got a mover and a seconder. I now have more comments from councillors. Councillor Goodluck and then O'Grady. Oh, good luck. Yep, that's you. Go. Yes. You, then O'Grady. Sorry, I'm looking over at Councillor Muscat before I'm thinking, were you next?
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll see, because we said some of the same things.
Yeah. Okay, over to you, Karen.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Rob, I know the report through all the records of Miriamvale Shire Council, it appears that the majority of circumstances it was spelt with one L. It's probably unlikely to me, although possible, that there was two Neil families with different spellings, but we have got correspondence from the Neil family with documentation out of the Rosedale School Centenary book dating back to 1931, 1932, with the double L spellings. So I'm happy to support the motion. My question is, do we think from a council perspective that this is the one in the same Neil family that the road was named after? I think it is, but and I guess my only other query is how through our process, if we do think that this is the one in the same family, despite the fact that we've seen it documented through the Miriamvale Shire Council records over the years with a different spelling, how come the process hasn't led to us being able to recommend this as the right outcome? That's just what I'm sort of wondering. Or do we think that there might be a circumstance where there is actually different Neil families? I'm just curious.
No, we do believe that's Neil with two L's is the family that we're relating to. The reason the recommendation has come to council from the officer's recommendation to decline the request is simply because there is not 100% support from the residents on Neil's Road, and when we look through our corporate standard and our policy, it only meets one of the 5 relevant criteria. So that's the recommendation that we've made on that basis.
Fair comment. Okay, then I'll go to Councillor Grady. Finish up.
I think we need to work on that policy or process. I understand what you're saying, but I think if council for many decades obviously has had an incorrect spelling, and we acknowledge that the right spelling, if it was I don't have any street signs named after a great-grandfather, but to my knowledge anyway. But if I did and it was spelt incorrectly, I'd want that rectified, and I think that's a reasonable thing. And I fully appreciate that this might be an inconvenience to some residents, absolutely, but I think it's the right thing to do to rectify that mistake. So I'd like to, perhaps we can look at that down the track. We probably need to, I think we need to focus on what is the right thing to do, and then make the policy or process ensure that we get that outcome despite other things. But thank you. Thanks for the clarification, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councillor Grady.
Yeah, thank you. I've been speaking to some of the people, long-term residents down in Rosedale itself, and they believe it's N-E-I-L-L. And also my family, many years ago, worked in the logging industry in Rosedale, and speaking with some of my family, they believe it was N-E-I-L-L as well. So just a bit of history there.
Thank you. Councillor Muscat.
Thank you, and hello everyone. First meeting of 2024. I think there's no question that we referring to the same family which has two L's in their name. So is there anything we can do to help those other residents to make the change of addresses and whatever that they need to do going forward? If we rename it to Neil with double L, is it something we can provide them to make that process a bit easier?
Without knowing all the fine details about what each resident needs to do, but I understand it's time.
Okay.
It's time that they need to put into that, and talking with lawyers and talking with banks.
But if we're able to at least maybe provide some sort of official letter saying that this is what's happened, so they have some sort of proof from council that this is not just them, it's actually something that they need to do, that might be useful for them when they go to a bank or when they go to different places. I mean, a change of address is something that people do, but if we can help them to make that process easier, I don't want to inconvenience anyone, but it's obvious that the intent of the naming of this street was after this family. So.
Yeah, we'll be, depending on if council decides to change the name, then we'll be reaching out to our residents and let them know that is the case, and offering that anything that council could do to support them along that journey.
Yeah, maybe if we can just do it directly, at least with some sort of letter that just says this is just to, confirm that this is what we've done. And so then if they need something else, that's okay, but we can avoid the coming back and forth or whatever, at least they can use that. I will love for that to happen if that's possible. I will also like to support the motion.
Yeah.
Councillor,
Sorry, I was just going to, Councillor Muscat, I was just going to say, when I had two different spelling for my street name, my previous dwelling, and I actually got a letter from council to say the actual proper way it was spelt. So so that's obviously what council do. Yep.
and councillors, there would be a two-step process here. We'd obviously need to communicate with the ratepayers and make sure we're letting them know what the new address is, but we'll also have to change our systems and communicate that through the name and address registers. So essentially the postal addresses and street addresses are updated in a lot of those automatic platforms. So there's a subscription database there that has all that, and we will update that.
Got Councillor Churchill and then Councillor Cameron.
I'll allow others, Matt, as the mover of the motion. They might raise what I wanted to raise anyway. That's fine. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I read through the report, but I can't really see in there where we can get a majority of consensus from the... Oh, it wasn't mine, sorry. I'm new to this.
You're nearly done 4 years, mate.
Yeah, there's no consensus there as to what the majority feel. But I think if the letter went out saying this is what we're going to do, you will then get a true opinion of what's going to happen. And maybe that's the way to go. That I would be in favour of changing the Neil name to two L's, and then inform all the residents on Neil's Road to get a proper opinion to see if they're getting any objection. Because we really don't know, do we? But there's enough consensus there within the community that they're happy with the change of the name to two L's. But I think we need to make that decision today, send a letter out to the residents on Neil's Road, that this is what's going to happen, and just wait to see what the backlash is.
We can, but once we make a decision today to change the name, then we'd need a notice of motion to change it back if the residents... So I don't know, just when I know I'm always the one that loves to bring the names to the council boardroom, and particularly for this sort of reason, so they're named after the residents who have formed so much for our local community. But I don't want to bring this one back again. I think we make the decision today and then it be done. Can I go, Councillor Churchill?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Matt. Look, today is significant because today is an opportunity to correct history. That's the first aspect. The second part is that in correcting that, and I go back to Councillor Goodluck's comments appropriately, is that, well, perhaps we might need to have a look at some aspects of the policy, because I'm well aware that we've corrected two others during the term of this council, and I'm well aware that there's probably likely to be another one, definitely another one, or another two likely to find its way back to council in relation to correcting history.
Thanks. Councillor Churchill.
I'd like to just simply make the decision today so we can get on with it.
Any further questions or comments? I have a mover in Councillor Churchill and a second in Councillor Hanson that we don't accept the officer's recommendation that we rename the road Neil, N-E-I-L-L Road, no S. Is that correct? N-E-I-L-L Road. Councillor Churchill, that was your motion, and seconded by Councillor Hanson. Everyone's aware of that? I'm going to put that motion. All in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll move to the next item. We need reasons why for a
we
street
do.
naming.
Simply
the reason
because...
why, I'll name it for you, because the reason why is because the road was intended to be named after the Neil family, N-E-I-L-L, and we're correcting an error correcting a previous error. Yeah, that'll do. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you, Mayor Matt.
Lovely.
That
Okay.
doesn't often happen, councillor.
I know, so I'll put him back on mute now. That's the next item on councillors is another one, G4.2, naming of council asset infrastructure, Prestige Close. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. An application was received requesting the name Prestige be used from the approved place name register to name a cul-de-sac located off Applin Place in Tenham Sands. The proposal is to name the cul-de-sac Prestige Close and is linked to the DA 927-2013, and the officer recommendation is to approve the use of the name.
Questions, councillors? Thank you. I was surprised that was on the naming register, to be honest, but anyway. Yeah, move Councillor Muscat, seconded Councillor Goodluck. Any questions, councillors? This is a lot easier. Put the motion. All in favour. Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Rob. The next item on the agenda is G4.3, the 2023 Gladstone Region Youth Council Advisory Committee Annual Report. And I welcome our General Manager of Community and Lifestyle, Kylie Lee, to the table. And also welcome Melissa, Jacob and Jessie.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Sorry, not Melissa. Melissa's sitting back down, but two of our Youth Council members, Jessie and
We're very
Jacob.
fortunate, thank you, Mr Mayor. We're very fortunate today to have some of our 2023 youth councillors here. So we've got Jacob Humphreys and Jessie Zhang. So thank you so much. Let's start here. So council's really fortunate to have so many volunteers across a range of our functions to support the delivery of our services. The Youth Council is one of those groups, with young people volunteering their time, their ideas and their voices to influence and shape our community, and in turn contributing to a livable community for our families and our young people. Today we present to you the Youth Council Annual Report for 2023, the Youth Council Action Plan for 2024-2025, and a request to endorse the 11-strong 2024 Youth Council. Again, I'll acknowledge Jacob and Jessie. Thank you for being with us today. They've both contributed greatly to the Youth Council in 2023. and it's actually really lovely to have you present today. I know you work very, very hard. It'd also be remiss of me not to mention the coordinating role and the great work of our Manager of Community Partnerships, Bride Jansen, and Community Development Officer, Melissa French. They do an amazing job coaching and supporting our Youth Council to achieve their goals, so thank you. I'd also like to thank the Mayor and councillors. I know you do volunteer your time to mentor and support the Youth Council as well, so thank you to you all. We'll take the report as read. However, I would like to acknowledge some of the highlights from the 2023 annual report. The group of 11 our youth councillors from 2023 had a great opportunity to have some awareness and education of local government itself and the legislation that drives it. They organised and hosted the Mayor's Youth Breakfast, which was a fabulous event, thank you.
Huge.
They partnered with Headspace and PCYC to deliver a sunset cinema at the Phillip Street Precinct, which was a great event supporting mental health, which was fantastic. They attended multiple events. Some of them were Anzac Day, Volunteers Week, the Sport and Active Living Expo, National Tree Day, Welcoming Week. They were a really driving force behind the campaign for the 2024 Youth Council election, which was great, so thank you. And finally, something that I'm personally really proud of, and I hope they all are as well, the development of the 2024 Youth Council Action Plan, which is really great. I'd like to acknowledge the members of the 2023 Youth Council and thank them for their efforts and input across last year. They're a phenomenal group of young people and have done a great job representing the region's youth. I'll now hand over to Jacob Humphreys, who will go through the highlights of the 2024 action plan, and then we'll invite questions and hopefully endorse the 2024 Youth Council. Thank you, Jacob.
I also, just on behalf of the Youth Council, wanted to say thank you to all the councillors, the Mayor, the CEO, the General Managers and Mel for keeping us all in line and just offering us your mentorship and your knowledge. It's really appreciated. The 2024-25 action plan was informed by the 22 Youth Summit, where around 40 youths informed us of the issues that they face and what they would like to see the Youth Council implement for the region. The Youth Council then came together over a period of a few weeks to identify what the key issues are and what young people face in our region. 6 focus areas were developed. They were environment, education, employment, equity and discrimination, health and social issues. A total of 10 activities have been assigned to these focus areas, setting our direction over the next year. While the Youth Summit was held in 2022, the key issues that were raised are still very much relevant in 2024. Through youth engagement and engagement with our youth groups across the region, we can monitor the effectiveness and tweak our activities if need be. Our progress will be measured through an action plan report card and will be presented to Council at the end of 2025. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob.
Jessie, would you like to add anything? You don't have to, but if you'd like to. Are you good? Yeah. Perfect. I wish I could say that too. No. Council will now seek your endorsement for the 11 2024 Youth Council members, who are Jessie, who's a returning member, Jacob, who's also a returning member, Shiranshi Sharma, Logan Altheus, Ava Hetherington, Matt Torres, Roshan Kaku, Kyle Weeks, Holly Morton, Lachlan Cathcart and Naomi John Redshaw. Thank you. We're open to any questions that you may have from either myself, Jessie or Jacob. Thank you.
Right. Councillor Hanson.
There's some good historical Gladstone names in that group, if you look through them.
Cathcart, Redshaw,
congratulations
Hetherington.
To you and your team on another great year for our Youth Council. Can I just ask, if this is maybe a little bit personal, but a highlight for each of you out of that year that you sort of take a special interest in?
Yeah. For me, that would have to be co-hosting the Mayor's Youth Breakfast, being able to acknowledge over 250 young people for academic, sporting, some people even saved people's lives. Yeah. That was really impactful for me, and also seeing thousands of eyes all staring at me while I'm up on stage with Taylor was definitely an experience, but that was probably for me the most important thing that I'd done.
A highlight for me this year was initiating our first Sunset Cinema at the precinct. We had a bit over 60 attendees attend the event, which is great. Great to see so many people enjoy the afternoon watching a movie and spreading awareness on the Mental Health Week. We had Headspace and PCYC, also the Salvos, who are generously helping with the event, and it was just a great time to have a talk with people who are attending the event and introduce ourselves as youth councillors and why we were hosting the event. So it was a great time.
Thank you.
Any further questions, councillors? Councillor O'Grady, then Councillor Branthwaite.
Yeah, I'd like to say congratulations to it. It's been a pleasure to watch over the last 8 years the Youth Council grow to where it is today, and see the maturity of the young people coming forward. It's been actually eye-boggling in the last 2 years. So yeah, so congratulations. Thanks.
Councillor Branthwaite.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Actually, I have to make reference, Jacob, to your presentation at the youth breakfast. I actually think you're born to present. I really do. There's a lot of, like, I do a lot of presenting and that, and we all do a lot of presenting around the neighbourhood, and it's really nice to see some of our young people get up and with confidence, the way you and I think Chloe was with you, was it? Or no? Taylor. Yeah, both of you just absolutely shone, and there's a lot of confidence there, and I think you inspire a lot of young people in the position that you hold within this business as well. So congratulations to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Goodluck, then Councillor Muscat.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to say congratulations to the retiring committee members. And I know particularly as I'm the chair of the Rosebery Headspace Consortium, and I know that the whole team at Headspace really appreciates the opportunity to partner with the Youth Council, as I have done many times, and I'm sure they'll continue to do that moving forward. But also, when I look at the 24-25 action plan, this is probably what I would probably say is the most courageous and ambitious action plan that I've seen from the Youth Council. So I think, you know, the 2023 team has done a great job to set that plan, and no doubt it's going to be a very busy year ahead for the new cohort of people. So congratulations and thank you, and wish you all the best for another successful year. So thank you.
Cheers. Councillor Muscat.
Thank you. I just wanted to also thank you, because some of my favourite times are also when I come and speak to you. So I guess from my perspective, thank you for what you've done, and it's some of my highlights to actually come and get to meet their members and how interested they are in what we do. So I guess I think I left a present somewhere for the retiring members. So hopefully you enjoy them, and hopefully we get to meet the new ones very soon. Thank you. And I'd like to move the recommendation if no one has.
No, no one has, so you can move Councillor Muscat for the officer's recommendation, which is points 1, 2 and 3. Councillor Hanson, did you?
I don't normally have a second bite at the cherry,
No, but you
Mr.
can.
Mayor. But
Yes.
in this instance, as I'm leaving council later on in March, can I just say one thing to you guys, that I think you need to challenge council, right? You need in your ideas, you need to challenge the council with them. So if you can take that on board, that would be great.
Would you like to second the motion with that?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
I can second the motion, Mr. Mayor. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Councillor Churchill online.
No, I'm fine, thanks, Mayor Matt.
What'd you put
Well
your hand
done.
up for then?
Happy to support.
Okay. Okay, we were going to second as well. Thank you. Okay, so I've got a mover in Councillor Muscat and second in Councillor Hanson. Before we put the motion, I obviously would like to congratulate you on both returning to our Youth Council. And again, as the Deputy has said, thank the existing previous councillors for their hard work over the last 12 months, and particularly want to mention Taylor, who has done an amazing job as well. I'm unfortunately stepping down, but I'm sure between the two of you, as the returning councillors, you'll do a very good job in helping to lead the new Gladstone Region Youth Council for 2024. I'm going to put the motion. Councillors, all in favour? Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll move to the next item on the agenda. Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Kylie. Next item on the agenda is G4.4. Lease of a portion of Lot 32 on PL 646 Bailey Wetlands to Urella Sports Club. And I'll hand over to the General Manager of Assets and Environment, Mark Francis. Thank you, Mark.
Mayor. Good morning, councillors. This report is seeking for you to resolve that Section 236 exemptions apply to the disposal of a part of Lot 32 to Urella Sports Club. As you'll be aware, and contained in the report is a reminder of the engagement that we've received from Urella for their proposed development at that area. We have considered and worked with the club over a period of the last 18 months to 2 years regarding this. The risk profile of the disposal has reduced significantly given the size of the lot, or the portion of the lot that they plan to develop on, and also as they came to the boardroom and talked about their proposal for the environmental stewardship and how some of the world-leading approaches that golf clubs have to looking after the land would be applied here, then the risk profile is at a level where we're happy to recommend disposal of the area to the club. The exemptions that apply are the basis for the request, which is that they are a community organisation and that they are a neighbouring landholder, and that's the exemptions that we're asking you to resolve applies to this. It's a lease initially with an option to purchase, and the purchase would be at market value at the time when the operational works have begun on the land. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. My question only is on that option to purchase. An option to Urella to purchase, is that we're not bound by that option? I've got a lawyer in the room, I'm sure can help me out. So that's an option for them to purchase, but we're not, if they come back with a market value and say it's worth $300,000, we've got to pay you $300,000 and it's ours, do we still have the option as a council to say, no, we're happy to continue leasing it to you, or not?
I will defer to Tanya.
Tanya.
No, it is a binding option. So we're providing Urella with the option to purchase that lease area, just the lease area, no further, provided that they meet the conditions. There is a process in the lease that deals with, they come to us with a market value. We then have a process to verify that market value, and if there's a dispute, but we cannot say, no, we reject your option to purchase.
Don't get me wrong, I absolutely support the officer's recommendation. That's the only bit that I don't know about what's going to happen in 10 years' time, that a council is bound by a decision to sell a block of land. It's probably be happy to, because there's be a thriving, potentially international golf course there that we would want to sell the land. But just part of me says, well, you're not, who's making that decision? I don't know. Is that what Urella want, is it? They want the option to buy, or why is that in the...
Urella initially requested the purchase immediately. And we feel that the lease with the option to buy protects council's interest. In the event that the development doesn't go ahead, then we would be able to retain the lease. And the sale is conditional on the development approval, reconfiguration of the lot into one, and the commencement of the development as well.
Okay, I'll think that through for a bit more. Councillor, good luck.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to raise, I had sought advice from our governance team earlier, but just in the event that I just want to raise a potential conflict, I'd like to declare a declarable conflict of interest. That's right, isn't it, Tanya? Declarable. What's the other one?
Yes. Prescribed.
Prescribed, sorry.
Prescribed.
Yeah, declarable conflict of interest. My brother is a project manager for metal projects, which is currently undertaking the renovation to the Urella Sports Club. That's not associated with this particular project, and to my knowledge, metal projects hasn't got any involvement with this project, but they may do at some point in the future. So I don't believe it's a conflict. It doesn't change any decision that I have about this piece of land, but just in the interest of transparency, I'd like to declare that, and I'd request that I be able to stay in the room to make the decision, subject to the decision of council. The reason I wasn't going to declare it because I don't think it's a major issue, but just on the circumstance that perhaps this project goes through, and perhaps the company that my brother works for might tender on it.
I know, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's a long bow, but I'm just going to declare it in case my brother ends up working on this project, which may or may not happen, and then I can at least say that I declared it here today in the transparency. So declare that conflict for the record, and then ask for permission to stay in the room, or I'm happy to leave if that's what councillors decide.
Councillor Churchill, question for Councillor Goodluck, please.
Yeah, just a quick question through you to Councillor Goodluck. Is your brother employed by Urella?
No, so he's employed by Metal Projects, which is the contractor doing the project for Urella. Yep.
I'm satisfied with that.
Do you need a mover, Mr Mayor, to...
Yes.
Yeah,
Happy to move, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you do.
Happy to second.
Just what are you moving and seconding? Let me just think this through for a bit. I'm just concerned whether
Yep,
it's a conflict or not.
While you're thinking that through, Mr Mayor, I have declared before, my daughter works for Urella. I just dawned on me now, she works part-time, and I can't remember what I declared. Sorry.
That would be a conflict.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
Someone working for a contractor that might...
But she works for the gym. She doesn't work...
Can we perhaps deal with one conflict at a time so that we can, although each another conflicted councillor will not be able to vote in relation to whether there is a conflict.
Sorry, yeah.
So you out?
Well, we're just dealing with Carnes for now.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. I get what you're saying. Anyway, do I have a mover, or what were you going to move there, Councillor Churchill? What was the motion?
Well, I think Councillor Hanson was wanting to move it. I'm happy to move, or I'm happy to second it, so we can have some good debate about it. But if you want to deal with the conflict of interest on Councillor Goodluck first, but I don't see that as being a conflict. That's my opinion.
It's not a question as to whether or not the conflict exists. It's whether or not it's appropriate for Councillor Goodluck to remain in the room. That's the question for Council. Councillor O'Grady, I would advise you to abstain from voting on Councillor Goodluck's, and we'll come to you next.
Thank you, Tanya. Councillor Hanson, what was your motion?
My motion is that Councillor Goodluck can remain in the room. I don't think he's got a conflict of interest in the real term.
Yeah. Okay. I think Councillor Churchill already had seconded, but you can third it if you like. Okay, that's...
Yeah, I'm happy to... Yeah.
I probably agree, but I can see where some people might draw a long bow. You're right. That's why I'm glad you raised that now. Just fantastic. Thanks for doing that this morning. Okay, let's put that motion that Councillor Goodluck remain in the room. All in favour? Motion's carried. You can't vote. Those against? Yeah, I was tempted. It's fine. The motion's still carried. Now, Councillor O'Grady. Your daughter works for Urella.
Yes, my daughter works for the Lifestyle Gym, or the Urella Gym.
I think that one's a bit more clear.
Yes.
Just to confirm, Councillor O'Grady, you have previously declared the conflict, but it was in relation to the deputation from Urella. This is a separate matter, so you'll have to redeclare.
I think it's a prescribed conflict, and I think you have a conflict and you need to leave the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it was my children working there, I'd be out.
Yes, yes. Yeah, sorry, it didn't dawn on me till Councillor Goodluck, so yes, so I'd be happy to leave the room. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councillor O'Grady. All right, we'll go back to Officer's Report, G4.4. Mark, I was asking you about the option to purchase, but we've sort of answered that. Is there any other questions, councillors, on this one? Councillor Muscat, please.
Just going back to when you were talking, you mentioned that the word disposal. We're not disposing, we're leasing it, right? Okay.
Yes, disposal is a technical term.
Yeah, that's right. But to me,
leasers.
disposal means we're just giving it to them, and there's no, it kind of the ownership is transferred to them, but not at this stage. I just wanted to clarify that.
A lease is a disposal under
okay,
the Land Act, but yes, it's a lease to protect our interests.
Yeah.
On the basis that the development application is approved and they commence their work and they do the boundary realignment, then that's the point where they would take on control of the land.
Yeah.
By
So,
purchasing.
in the subject to the commencement of the project and all those sort of things, is there anywhere that it says that we will be able to check whether the use of those areas are in line with what they've proposed? I mean, I'm looking at sort of the environmental concerns that we had in the past, just to ensure that that is, I'm sure they will, but, you know, just people change in council, people change in other organisations too. Yeah.
Well, the whole development will be subject to development approval for the material change of use, so that's how we can, as the regulatory authority on that basis, make sure they're doing what they need to do. We're also remain effectively the landlord, so we do have rights of inspection and everything if that's required, if we think there's any concerns.
Yeah, it's just going back to, you know, the previous concerns that we raised. I don't want to just drop them out. And I can see, obviously, I was at the deputation, looks very positive. I just want to make sure that we have that as well, not just the commencement of a project, but also a project that was communicated to us.
Absolutely,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we've got a few. I've got Councillor Cameron, Branthwaite, Goodluck and Churchill. Start with you, Councillor Cameron, then Trevor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Relative to the conditions you've put on there, that they've got to substantially commence the development of the golf course, get approvals, etc. That would be, there's no real timeline on that, so I'm assuming from that would be within that first 5 year lease period?
They've requested 5 years with an option for 5 to provide.
Well, what I'm driving at is if they do want to move forward to purchase, which I believe they do, and in my opinion should, those conditions would also apply to that sale, that sale could not take place until we're satisfied that they are going to substantially commence development and do all the reapprovals. Would that be fair to say?
That's our intent, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Councillor Cameron, they effectively have 10 years to, if they exercise their option, they have 10 years to purchase the property and commence that development.
Yeah, but I'm getting toward the purchase of the land, that we wouldn't sell that land unless these conditions...
That's correct, yeah.
...have been satisfied,
yeah,
or amended to some form of satisfaction. I believe that, well, I know they're keen to buy that section of land, and I don't see any sense in having a golf course with a section of it leasehold and the majority of it freehold. It doesn't make any sense to me. So under these conditions, I would be more than happy to move the officer's recommendation if it hasn't already been done.
It hasn't yet. I have a few councillors wanting to ask more questions, but I will get a seconder, please. Seconded, Councillor Branthwaite. Now I have Councillor Branthwaite with the question.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Actually, Councillor Chris asked all and spoke about all the questions and concerns that I had, or not really concerns, but how I felt about the whole thing as well. So I really can't see any problem with this. I think it's a great way of investing in the region and for regional growth. I think it's actually a wonderful project.
Councillor Goodluck.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Mark, is the reason that we've got peppercorn lease arrangement because in the event that the purchase would go through, that we would recover required funds there, or what's the reasoning that we're not recommending a commercial lease arrangement?
Given there's no commercial operation in the property, it's essentially the wetland reserve at the moment, so we're not deriving any benefit from it that we need to transfer or recover.
Okay.
Councillor Churchill, then Councillor Trevor.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mehmet. I think Councillor Cameron summed it up there before, so I'm quite satisfied to support the motion and best wishes. Thank you.
Councillor Trevor.
Thanks, Mayor. Couple of issues and concerns. The first one is reference to this paragraph in the report. The clarification that the request to the purchase was restricted to approximately 7 hectares of Lot 32 on PL 646 Figure 2 lowers the risk of the disposal on the purpose and benefit of the wildlife reserve, which was the basis of the officer's initial refusal. Is the balance block of land that we're proposing to lease and subsequently sell for market value still within the wildlife reserve?
Technically, yes.
Okay. So we're dealing with council leasing a block of land to a proposed golf club and probably sell it if the project proceeds in a wildlife reserve where the risk hasn't been totally eliminated. Is that the situation? Because I worry about the reference to the words lowers the risk but not excludes the risk.
The risk of the disposal of the whole lot was significant, given the concerns that were listed just above that paragraph that you quoted, Councillor Trevor. Given that it is now a small portion of that lot, we consider that the risk profile is appropriate for us to recommend the basis. The vast majority of the remainder of the block is there. The original request was for the whole of the council-controlled lot, which was why we refused that. But given it is at the level that they're proposing at the moment, we believe that the risk has been reduced to the level. It's not been eliminated, you're absolutely right, but it's been reduced to the level where we're happy to make the recommendation.
Councillor Trevor, could I just also clarify with you that it is freehold land. There's no gazetted reserve. We refer to it as Bailey wetlands, but it is not part of a gazetted reserve.
So is that parcel of land surrounded by any other wildlife reserve?
I can't confirm or deny, but the land that we're talking about, that we are the owner of the freehold land, there's no administrative notices or anything on those titles that would indicate it is part of a gazetted wildlife reserve.
Is the lease and subsequent sale at market value of this parcel of land critical to the international golf course proceeding at some point in the future?
The proponents have advised that the development would be compromised without this additional 7 hectares.
So if it is necessary for the successful proposal that is currently being put in place to be built, are we selling ourselves as a council a little bit short in relation to just selling the land to them for market value, in the sense that have we surrendered an opportunity for council to negotiate a better outcome with Uralla when it comes to the existing parcel of land that they currently own and operate on as a golf course? That is to say, have we as a council considered the possibility of a land swap, given that one would presume that they will not operate 2 golf courses, a normal golf course and an international golf course? Is it the case that we could negotiate the surrender or land swap of a parcel of the current golf course land to us in exchange for that critical piece of infrastructure that they need, so that this council can consider in the future the possibility of a retirement village and or sporting complex being built on the current golf course land in exchange for this piece of land? What I'm saying, I guess, is, are we surrendering the block of land too lightly, given that it is critical to their proposed plan, when the opportunity could present itself for us to negotiate a better outcome, i.e. a land swap for a valuable piece of land which is currently golf course land, for a future retirement village and or sporting complex which is close to shopping centres, close to the airport, close to the GP super clinic for the elderly, close to everything that is important not only to the elderly but to our community from a sporting point of view. It's the lawyer coming out in me when it comes to negotiating around the table, and I do wonder whether we are missing an opportunity as a council to seize the day and allow them to proceed with this project, which will benefit Gladstone region as a whole, but no doubt impact Boyne-Tanham Golf Course, Calliope Golf Course and Miriamvale Golf Course, some of which golf courses we have poured in recently millions of dollars for their survival, and that should be acknowledged by Uralla, that millions of dollars by this council have been put into the Boyne-Tanham Golf Club and likely to be put into the Calliope Golf Club, but that's a decision for a future day, which won't involve me. But I do wonder, and as I say, this is the lawyer coming out at me, whether we're surrendering a golden opportunity to provide our community with a future retirement village and or sporting complex, or a combination of both, in exchange for this critical piece of land that they need to build their international golf course. And that's where I think personally we should be going back to the drawing table and negotiating a better outcome for our residents, rather than just agreeing to lease and subsequently surrendering it for market value when an opportunity exists for us to do so much better for our ratepayers. So much better, I believe.
I don't know if you can answer that, Mark, but I tend to agree. I'm happy with as I said before, to lease. I want to see this golf course proceed in this new position. I understand the constraints of the current golf course and what used to be the third hole onto Dawson Highway causing no end of trouble. What used to be the first hole causing no end of trouble on Sun Valley Road, and of course what used to be the second, or probably the ninth at some point, I don't know, they've changed the numbers that many times, onto the back of all the shops in the Windmill Centre. The third it was at one point, was it? I thought it was the second, yeah. But actually original, yeah. But anyway, it's moved around a few times, and also the issues in the back nine with houses. So I get why they need to look at an alternative location. That's why I asked about, are we bound to sell it? Because I'm happy to lease them the land so they can proceed with their development application and organise their funding and get this proposal sorted. But I do wonder what happens to Golf Course Estate, the residents who bought their homes in Golf Course Estate in Kincora area. Obviously it's Golf Course Estate, but it's a Kincora Sun Valley area, with the expectation that there was a golf club there. Now I get that times have changed and litigation and all the rest of it. It probably can't be a golf course, and certainly not a 18-hole golf course going forward, not of any reasonable standard in terms of golf courses. So what can happen with that golf course? Is it a retirement village? Is it a development application for residential? Is it sporting? Is it a combination of other things? It is in a floodplain area as well, no doubt about that. That creek, I've swum in there many times as a young fella, and I know how high that water goes. There's opportunities for us there, which is why I was happy to lease them that parcel there of at Beecher to allow them to proceed, but I'll leave options open for the council to determine and work with Uralla on the existing parcel of land. It's currently zoned open space. It's probably a combination of zonings in there, but certainly zoned open space. And I've had this conversation with the manager at Uralla as well, that the residents in that area will expect that there's some open space in that area. That's where they bought, particularly when you think, Golf Course Estate. That can't be the name of the estate anymore if there's no golf club there. So I think we need to think about how that works. I think Councillor Trevor has made a very valid point in terms of what happens to the existing golf club. So I think we should allow this to proceed in terms of offering them the lease for 5 years plus 5 years while they get their ducks in a row, and get their development application sorted. But in terms of selling this, being bound to sell this block of land in 10 years' time with... Okay, we're back. Being bound to sell this in 10 years' time is not necessarily in the best interest of the ratepayers today or in 10 years' time. I agree with Councillor Trevor on this. Where did Councillor Churchill go? We lost him, or did we do that, or did he do that? Oh, sorry. Okay. I think I know I've got a mover in a seconder, and we can put the motion, but I think Councillor Trevor makes a valid point, and we should certainly be at least discussing it before we make big decisions.
So I have just included on the screen the words that would be taken out should you wish to amend the current motion to remove the option from the lease.
Initial term of 5 years, an option for a further 5 years, and a rental payable on demand. And I think that allows Urella to do what they need to do to proceed. It gives them the confidence to proceed. And if council determine then to lease it to them for another 5 years or another 5 years, council could do that. If council determines to sell it to them, council can do that. And if council determined to enter into a land swap with some of the, or in a partnership, maybe the South Kirkwood Road structure plan was something we developed many years ago to develop what is now all of Emmerdale Gardens and that area of on the south of Kirkwood Road, and brought into Forest Springs and those sorts of areas. So you can master plan an area, and that's the probably biggest parcel of land in the city that potentially could be master planned in partnership with Urella. So I don't think this is not an anti-Urella conversation. They have done great things for the golf club since they've taken over, great things for our local community. We could potentially partner with them in a project here that we cut ourselves short, I think, your words, Councillor Trevor. Anyway, I'll go around the table again. I'll encourage you to consider that. Councillor Goodluck.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I don't necessarily disagree with the points, but I might suggest that perhaps we should consult with this proponent before we make a decision on this motion. While I fully appreciate yours and Councillor Trevor's points, the Urella Sports Club, I suspect, is seeking some sort of security of tenure, and as Councillor Cameron pointed out earlier, that security would be around the ultimate ownership of that land, not a lease. I suspect that this would be a large amount of money, and I'm not a golf player. Possibly might go there for lunch or something, but probably not to hit a golf ball. So I don't really have a great deal of concern whether it does or doesn't go ahead, other than the fact that I'm sure it'll be great for our region. And I'm sure it will require a substantial investment from this proponent. And so given that, I'd be more comfortable to support this motion if we perhaps consider deferring it for some time and consulting with Urella around what some of those aspects that you've just raised might look like, or how we might be able to move forward. If this is not the satisfactory way to do that, I'm happy to consider other options, but I suspect Urella, if I was a person in that position looking to make a substantial investment and attract funding and all the rest of it, I suspect in the millions of dollars, I'm going to want security of tenure, which is not going to be a lease option over a parcel of land that could perhaps be held against me for some other sorts of negotiations moving forward. So I think we should just defer it and work out a path forward with the proponent before we make a decision.
We possibly could do that. I think they're looking for a decision. This has been coming for a while, but we also don't want to rush things. I've got Councillor Cameron, then Councillor Brent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I am aware that, and this is getting towards what Councillor Trevor was bringing up, that I know a part of Urella's plan in this is the development of the existing Gladstone golf course, and that's how they're going to fund the new one. by development, and I can't say specifically what they're going to do there, but there is talk about a private hospital there associated at the back of the GP super clinic. The soccer people are looking at lands there where they can take up the old golf club facilities, and there's also talk of retirement villages and all that sort of thing, and some commercial properties to move in there as well. So the development of that is a part of Eurella's strategy to use the existing course to its best advantage, but also to finance the project moving forward. And I think the freehold tenure of that section of land is pretty critical to what they want to do. And at this point, I would be happy with the officer's recommendation as it is, and I don't know whether deferring it's going to achieve much, personally.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. I've got Councillor Branthwaite, then Councillor Churchill.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I agree with Councillor Cameron, but I think let's not forget about the economic development aspects of this project and what it can bring to our community. Now, Eurella are pretty much part of our community, and they've shown that they're going to invest in our community, invest in our future, and I've got no doubt, as Chris says, it's their plans for what they want to do with their open space is going to benefit Gladstone. It'll certainly benefit them, but they'll be doing things that will fill gaps. They'll be doing things that will plug holes in our I suppose, master plan, so to speak, because there'll be the utmost confidence in what they are doing, and I think the benefits they're bringing to our community and our region through this facility, because it will be world class, will be insurmountable, and it's going to be great for employment, it's going to be great for a visitor economy, it's going to be great for the livability of our region, both from a recreational point of view and their development point of view. So I really think we should be supporting this going forward and back those people who are investing in our community.
Thank you, Councillor Branthwaite. Councillor Churchill, then Councillor Muscat. You're on mute.
Unmute Councillor Churchill.
No, you're still muted.
Still muted.
Yeah, it's all right. I've learnt from Councillor Trevor over time, you've got to press the button for the microphone, but thank you for that, Matt. I agree with the comments that are being made, but at the same time, I'd like to think that we could actually forge ahead so that we could get this project delivered. But I think what Councillor Trevor is raising has very sound economic and fiscal and community benefits as well. And I would like to propose a slight amendment to the wording that's currently in the motion before us in point number D, that's in the officer's recommendation, number 1, point number D, where the wordsmithing actually says, and it won't change the intent of the motion, but an option for Gladstone Regional Council with Eurella or for Eurella to purchase the lease area and remove the reference to for market value. Because I believe if you change that wording appropriately in point number D, it does allow for innovative negotiations to occur, which comes under dot point number 3 later on, to satisfy the aspects that Councillor Trevor rightfully is raising to allow for negotiations to occur, whether it's a land swap or any other options that may exist. Because if Rachel could just put that wording in there for consideration, it doesn't change any other aspects of the motion, but what it does do, it allows the CEO and Gladstone Regional Council to negotiate with Eurella for them to purchase the lease area during the lease term provided.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill.
I'm prepared to either move an amendment to the motion so that we can forge ahead to get this done rather than deferring for another month or another 3 months. Can I put that forward, Mayor Matt, for consideration?
You can. I'll get a second shortly, but I need you to redo the wording for tenure to put on the screen so we can all see. So option D, what was it?
An option for Gladstone Regional Council.
Yes.
For Urella, an option for Gladstone Regional Council to negotiate for Urella to purchase the lease area during the lease term provided. That. Because you're actually moving the reference to the market value, and I'm inserting that Gladstone Regional Council has that option to negotiate with Urella.
Can I go to tenure first and then...
Councillor Churchill, I believe that will be quite difficult. It becomes no longer an option, and it will be very difficult to document that in a lease. If that's the approach that you want to take, I believe that the best way to do that would be to remove the option to purchase and add a number 4 in there to say that council works with Urella to negotiate and whatever you want to put in there, but it is no longer an option.
So could it
Well, I'll be guided by your advice at this stage, because my intent appropriately is to satisfy where Councillor Trevor is coming from, but also giving some confidence and satisfaction to Urella that they can go ahead with all the planning that they've been doing to be able to deliver that development application. If you want to take out dot point number D and add in number 4, the Gladstone Regional Council negotiate with Urella to purchase the lease area during the lease term.
Would you be interested in adding the words purchase or land swap?
Well, I think that's all part of the negotiations, Mayor Matt. But
right. As long as it means the same thing.
I
believe a better word?
I believe that one will require some intent behind that statement.
Okay.
And if you were to do that, I would like to come back to discuss what you'd see as value, but I think we may need to go into confidential to protect our interests in that. Not today, but at a future date.
I would like to give Urella some certainty on their project, which I agree with Councillor Branthwaite is an amazing project, and they do invest in our community. I also want to give residents in Kincora Golf Course Estate and Gladstone City that their biggest parcel of land in the city, which is currently zoned in many parts of it is open space, probably freehold in other parts as well, that's being taken into consideration as well by our council. I mean, obviously any development application will have to come here for approval as well, but at the same time you don't want to send Urella down the path of going through all the work to build a new golf course and then throw their development application out for a redevelopment, especially if it includes a private hospital.
Absolutely.
So it's a big decision. I don't want to make it lightly, so that's why I'm going to keep this going. Before I get Councillor Cameron, I had Councillor Muscat next.
So, Mayor Matt, at this stage, you rejected my amendment. Is that the case?
Sorry, I haven't. I can go back to that. Sorry, but I wasn't really sure what it was. Tenure told us it's not really something we can put in a lease. So I can take an amendment, but it has to be a legal one. Like, it has to be one that we can, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Well, I'm sure you understand the intent.
I understand the intent. Tenure, do you? Can you make it so it works and it can form part of the emotion so we can determine whether we put that? And I have got a few councillors lining up to speak.
Well, let's spend some time trying to get that so we can correct it, because, and I understand where the General Manager's coming from to defer and then go away and do a little bit more homework. But we've arrived today at a point where hopefully if we can get the wordsmithing correctly and legally, because we seem to be hamstrung on this particular point of not being able to negotiate with them on anything, and it's got to be for market value. You know, whatever the market might be during those 10-year period. That's what we seem to be hamstrung on.
Okay.
If Tanya could do some little wizardry there, I'm playing around with some wordsmithing here at the moment, but let's have further discussion and we can maybe bring it back for a later during the debate.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Councillor Churchill. It's on the screen. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll read it to you. Point 4 would be that Council continue to negotiate the purchase of the lease area with Urella and bring a further report to Council to discuss the options. That's your amendment. You happy with that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But if that satisfies the requirement legally, and it doesn't lock us in, because I think you started this right from the beginning, there, Matt, where you were asking that particular pertinent question about the market value, and whether there was other innovative options available as part of that negotiation. But no, I can't see that wording, but it sounded pretty good to me. If Tanya's done it, then it's obviously good.
Okay, well, before I go to other councillors, I need a seconder for the amendment. Seconded, Councillor Muscat. Yes, and then can I throw to Councillor Muscat back to Councillor Cameron? Councillor Muscat.
Yes, thank you. I am not in favour of deferring this. Again, it's gone for a bit, for a while, and I don't see anything that is stopping us from making a decision now. We have, if Urella, the organisation, is not satisfied with this, I'm sure we're going to hear from them. So, I mean, we can always come back and it could be something else that we, are going to have to talk about. But at least this allows us to even have this conversation here in a public forum, because I don't think this is a conversation. I know we like to do that, but it's not a conversation as to whether it's worth it or not worth it, whether the organisation is good or bad. That's why we're here, because we think it's worth it and because we want to support it. That is kind of a given. And if we are not, have some reservations, it's not necessarily because we don't support it, it's because there's options in the future that we're not sure about. We can't tell the future, and we just want to have a couple of things that are open in case something different happens, other things emerge. And as Councillor Trevor said, I don't know whether it's in the form of a land swap or anything. I mean, I also don't like to speculate at all. So I would like us to have probably I'll be comfortable with not having that condition in here at this stage. If it does mean later on that Urella says, oh no, look, we can't do this, we can't continue with what we are proposing, well then we'll obviously going to have to talk about it again. But let's put it out there. At least we can make the first couple of steps and then see what happens, and then leave our options open. Not our options, the community's options open, because our golf isn't, I mean, it's got nothing to do whether I play golf or not, but it's not really about us, it's about the community needs in the future or whatever can happen. So that's why I'm happy to second this amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Muscat. Back to you, Councillor Cameron.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Could we achieve what Councillor Churchill is trying to achieve by going back to point D and just insert the word agreed market value? No? What's wrong with agreed?
The lease already provides for us to reach an agreed market value.
Negotiated.
Councillor Trevor.
There's got to be a word there.
Councillor.
I'm certainly happy to hear Councillor Trevor's pearls of wisdom if he's going to talk for or against the amendment at some stage, Mayor Matt.
Thank
Sorry
you,
to interrupt.
Well, that's okay. Please interrupt. He's next. Thank you, Councillor Trevor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy with the wizardry performed in arriving at paragraph 4 of the proposed amended motion. I am happy.
Thank you, Councillor Trevor. Councillor Goodluck.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I understand the intent. I'm not sure what council would seek to get out of this negotiation other than a fair market value. That's how it operates. I know we've used the term negotiation, but the conversation to me somewhat treads perilously close to ransom. But I think I'll be happy to support the amendment and see what that negotiation comes to fruition.
Before I put the amendment, Councillor Hanson, would you like to comment?
I'm still in favour, I believe, of the original officer's recommendation. I'm not sure whether we're giving an organisation who's about to develop and they're understanding that they have a parcel of land that they own freehold at the moment, which is the Gladstone Golf Club.
No, they don't. Sorry, yes, they do, but it's but parts of it are zoned open space, which limits the potential development of that. Obviously, an MCU on any block of land for any application is something our planning department have to consider. But also has to consider, I used to live where the golf club house is right now. That's where my house was. So I know this area very well. I'm sure you all do. But no one knows that house better than I do because that's where I lived. And the residents in the area bought in golf course estate. So I don't want to send signals to the community that it's going to be fully developed into a housing subdivision because it possibly can't. It's a flood zone and a zoned open space, but it certainly needs to have some development.
You said yourself before, Mr Mayor, that we have ultimate, it'd have to come back to us and, and the council will have to make that decision long term.
Yeah.
So you've still got the decision power later on.
You do.
To do that. I just think that if there's a group or a company moving forward with a development like this and they're relying on all these other things to back them up and to get the capital to do such a thing, I think would be hindering them by saying, you have to do this, we want this. I think we'd be hindering them, that's all. And that's why I would back the original officer's recommendation.
That's fair enough. It's going to be an interesting vote very shortly. Please have another go.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. You are too kind. But if I'm a proponent looking to make an investment for potentially millions of dollars, the one thing I'm looking for is the certainty around the tenure of that land. I'm not sure that the proposed amendment gives that security. Fair enough, we don't want to defer it. I think I agree with you, Councillor Hanson. Just wanted to mention.
Very unusual.
Very wise pearls of wisdom that you departed on the room. Thank you for that.
So I just guess I'm not in favour of the amended motion.
I get that.
In reality, we still have the option to not, for them not to purchase or for us to decline the offer to purchase.
Yeah.
So
this allows.
I guess it does it provide more certainty to them or doesn't? We're not actually signing a paper saying, no, the land's yours right now, so.
The amended motion, before I put it, and I will, everyone's had a say, and I'll go last. The amended motion gives Urella 10 years to get a development application sorted and gives them the opportunity to negotiate with council for the purchase of that area. And a report can come back to us. It also gives us an opportunity to discuss what that community land, the golf course, let it go back a little bit. Before Urella had the golf club, it was run by Gladstone Golf Club. So, go back and remember the history here, what that area was and what Bailey is. And I know it's not the main part of the wetlands, which is obviously you wouldn't touch that, but it's connecting to the wetlands. And I think a golf course connecting to the wetlands makes sense because it's open space and that sort of makes sense. These are conversations that can be had later after decisions are made to either proceed or not to proceed and what to do with their current golf course. There's one thing we must accept. Gladstone Golf Club, as it currently stands, can't continue to be a golf club, unfortunately, as sad as that is. Anyway, I'm going to put the amendment, which is moved by Councillor.
So, Mayor, if I could just say my amendment appropriately still allows for the negotiations to be relevant to market value as the officer rightfully has made reference, but it opens up a whole lot of other options for Gladstone Regional Council and Urella in those negotiations, but it still includes market value. And I think the pertinent point is that it also allows them to have an opportunity in the negotiations to consider the social, the community, environmental and economic, whatever might occur during that period. But it will give them confidence to get ahead and do what they want to do.
Thank you. I would like to put the motion, but is it anything further to add to what's already been said?
The amendment, in my view, Mr Mayor, doesn't guarantee tenure of freehold. and that's the
Doesn't.
risk.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the risk. And if I'm Uralla or a financier looking to invest considerable money and I don't have a guarantee of freehold tenure, I'm not going to make that investment. That's the risk that I see with that amendment.
Anyway, I see it differently. That's what democracy is all about. An amendment has been moved by Councillor Churchill and seconded by Councillor Muscat. I'm going to put the amendment before either it's defeated and then I go back to the original motion, or I make the amendment the motion. Are we doing this properly? Those in favour of the amendment? Those against the amendment? I'll go again. Those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, and the amendment is passed on the Mayor's casting vote. Now the amendment becomes the motion. Moved by, can I get a mover for the motion?
Happy to move.
Churchill, seconded Councillor, doesn't need a mover again? Good. Okay,
I need
it
a
becomes
mover.
a motion. That's what I thought. We don't do too many of these, we've only done 2 in this term. That is now the motion. I'm going to put the motion, which is the previous amendment. All in favour? Those against? Motion's carried, and this time not on the Mayor's casting vote, so thank you. What we might do, Councillor, is now break for morning tea. Thank you.
It's a good way to break, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I get it.
We have debate.
Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify.
Illegal dumping and littering is a concern across the Gladstone region, with over 134 offences in the last 18 months. Our region is beautiful, but there are a few bad apples that ruin it for the rest of us, and they need to clean up their act.
Commonly found items at illegal dumping sites across the region include car bodies and batteries, mattresses, tyres, white goods and furniture, and green waste. These items can be disposed of at any of the region's waste transfer stations, some of them even for free.
Illegal dumping and littering pollutes our environment, harms plants and animals, and detracts from the enjoyment of our public spaces. It can lead to stormwater and ocean pollution, with large amounts of plastic, sugar sachets, and cigarette butts caught in stormwater traps and grates.
It's cheaper for everyone to dispose of waste correctly. Illegal dumping and littering costs our ratepayers thousands of dollars each year in waste management and clean-up. It's also costly for our dumper, with penalties of up to $10,000.
We can all work together to keep our region beautiful and dispose of waste responsibly by placing rubbish in the bins, or even holding onto the rubbish until you're near a suitable bin, and using our local waste facilities. Don't be part of the problem of pollution. We want you to be a part of the solution.
From towns to the bush, illegal dumping and littering is everybody's responsibility. Protect our public spaces and natural environment by doing the right thing for today and tomorrow.
If you see illegal dumping,
Dob in a dumper.
See it,
report it, stop it.
Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify.
Illegal dumping and littering is a concern across the Gladstone region, with over 134 offences in the last 18 months. Our region is beautiful, but there are a few bad apples that ruin it for the rest of us, and they need to clean up their act.
Commonly found items at illegal dumping sites across the region include car bodies and batteries, mattresses, tyres, white goods and furniture, and green waste. These items can be disposed of at any of the region's waste transfer stations, some of them even for free.
Illegal dumping and littering pollutes our environment, harms plants and animals, and detracts from the enjoyment of our public spaces. It can lead to stormwater and ocean pollution, with large amounts of plastic, sugar sachets, and cigarette butts caught in stormwater traps and grates.
It's cheaper for everyone to dispose of waste correctly. Illegal dumping and littering costs our ratepayers thousands of dollars each year in waste management and clean-up. It's also costly for our dumper, with penalties of up to $10,000.
We can all work together to keep our region beautiful and dispose of waste responsibly by placing rubbish in the bins, or even holding onto the rubbish until you're near a suitable bin, and using our local waste facilities. Don't be part of the problem of pollution. We want you to be a part of the solution.
From towns to the bush, illegal dumping and littering is everybody's responsibility. Protect our public spaces and natural environment by doing the right thing for today and tomorrow.
If you see illegal dumping,
Dob in a dumper.
See it,
report it, stop it.
Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
G4.5, which is a tender for RPQS 89-24 Traffic Management Services. And I welcome to the table Acting General Manager of Finance, Governance and Risk, Jessica Rosso.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. This report gives Council the option to consider entry into a register of pre-qualified supplier agreements for traffic management services. This tender closed in November last year. We had 7 offers received. One has not been recommended as they don't supply the required services. We are recommending that there are 6 service providers appointed to the RPQS with a primary provider identified there. And this was a supplier that was evaluated number 1 from a technical and price perspective. Just like to draw to your attention an error in the report when we look at the amount. So we've noted here that the expenditure under the contract is anticipated to be $9 million. The report notes that that's per year. That's actually over the 4 years of the contract.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. Now is someone more happy to move the motion?
I think that is everybody's. It was going to be everybody's question.
It was everyone's question.
Consider it answered.
Councillor Trevor, is a question, or are you happy to move? I'm happy to move. Thank you. Okay. Move, Councillor Trevor, seconded by Councillor O'Grady. Put the motion. All in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you. The next item is G4.6, Tender RPQS 8424, Pipe Relining Services. Back to you, Jess.
Thank you. Another report here seeking for a register of pre-qualified supplier arrangements for pipe relining services. This tender closed in November of 2023. We had 4 offers received, and it's recommended that we appoint all 4 providers. The anticipated expenditure under this contract is $500,000 per year, or $2 million across the term of the contract.
Thank you. Questions to the Acting Manager, please? No? Move, Councillor Cameron, seconded Councillor Hedson. Put the motion. All in favour? Councillor Churchill. Thank you. Carried. Next item, G4.7, which is a tender PSA 75-24 Property Services. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you. This one is a preferred supplier agreement for various property services. So you can see here there are 8 service providers that have been recommended across 9 areas, with 2 of those areas recommended for the single service provider. So this tender went out and closed in November of 2023. We had 22 offers received across the portfolio. The total value of the contract is expected to be $2.5 million across the contract term.
Councillor O'Grady, happy to move that? No, you have a question? Yes.
I just have a question. So I don't know all of these people that have actually applied. Are they mostly Gladstone people, businesses? Or can we not get some of those people, some of those businesses within our region? Just that, as you know, we like to...
I don't think with the tender, they're not all local. I don't believe they're all local.
No. I was beginning to think that, but it didn't give me a place.
Yeah, this tender was open to companies who are both local and not local. I'm not sure of the balance. I'm sorry.
Yeah, obviously they'll get higher marks.
Yeah, and we
yeah.
put a higher weighting on
That's
local.
exactly
Yeah.
right. So,
Can we get that back up on the screen, please, if that's possible? Thank you. Any further questions? Yeah. Where's the other bit? Is there an attachment with this? Oh, that's right. Not much I can do about that. Right?
That's all right. It's just as long as we're aware, and I know with the waiting that we do give them extra points. So thanks.
Yeah.
As long as the policy's been followed, I'm very, very happy with that.
Okay. Any further questions, councillors? Can I get a mover for the office of recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Muscat. Seconded, Councillor Cameron. Oh, sorry, Councillor Churchill, just got you too late. I'm going to put the motion. All in favour? Motion's carried. The next item is G4.8, which is a tender RPQS 86-24, sorry, supply and delivery of civil infrastructure materials. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you. Another pre-qualified supplier arrangement here. This tender closed in December of 2023 with 17 offers received, 4 of which were non-conforming. So the recommendation is to appoint 13 service providers to this register. The total value for this one is anticipated to be $1 million per year or $4 million over the potential 4-year term.
Councillor Churchill, question?
No, happy to move, Mayor Man.
Thank you. Move Councillor Churchill, seconded Councillor Goodluck. Yes? Any questions, councillors? Put the motion. All in favour? Motion's carried. G4.9, tender 15567, recycle transport services.
Thank you. I'll ask Chris Irving, our Manager of Waste Program Delivery, to join me for this report. This one is slightly different. So this is a joint procurement that has been undertaken with some of the councils from the CQ Rock, excluding Central Highlands, who are pursuing their own procurement for this service. So with regards to the provision of recyclable transport services, this was originally packaged with a processing services contract. You'll see in the report at the general meeting on the 1st of August 2023, there was a resolution to divide that into 2 separate packages. So we've already awarded the processing element. We're now looking to award the transport element of this contract. So there was a tender evaluation panel that consisted of officers from the various councils that are involved in this joint procurement. 2 submissions were received and they were proceeded to evaluation. The details are in the report there. And just noting on the financial and resource implication that this contract has an approximate annual expenditure of $650,000. When combined with the recyclables processing services, the other part, it's a total of $1.1 million, which is similar to our existing expenditure on recyclables transport and processing.
Thank you, Jess. Questions to Jess or Chris, please? No? No. Okay, move Councillor Branthwaite. Go, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Mr Mayor, I was a bit slow.
You're right, go for a question.
Are we any closer to getting a MRF in our own area, Chris, or is that still going to be out of, in your opinion?
I think that's what, from a regional perspective, if you look at the regional plan, that's the goal. And that's the aim. I think when we look at how we've facilitated that opportunity within this contract and the processing contract, is originally they went out for substantially longer periods of time. So with these ones, we've reduced them down to a 4 plus 4 individual year options. So what that's doing is within that 4-year period, hopefully as a region, we can outwork that opportunity and track someone. And it means then we can then have a short duration of out of region and then go into that region, that solution within the region. So still a piece of work to outwork, but we've constructed our contracts to help support that from a timeline perspective.
I look forward to seeing that from the sidelines in the next couple of years. Thank you, Chris. Well done.
Thanks, Councillor Muscat, question?
Yes. No, well, I don't actually have a question, but I'll hopefully will keep you updated, hopefully. But no, I just wanted to say that I've also attended a couple of sessions with Chris and a number of other stakeholders recently, and I guess I'm just going to use this little period of time that I can talk to in general. But waste is one of our biggest challenges, I believe, and we need to, as a council, heavily invest our time and our resources. So, Chris, you have a big job on you, but yeah, just whatever it is that you need, we'll be happy to support you personally and in general. So, thank you.
Just a bucket of about 30 to 40 million would be good.
I'll see what I can do.
Thanks. Can I have a seconder for that recommendation, please? Thank you, Councillor Goodluck. Any further questions for Jess or Chris? No. Put the motion. All in favour? Thank you. That's carried. Thank you, Chris. And another one for you, Jess. Yeah. Don't muck around. Jeez. Okay, G 4.10, monthly financial report for the period ending the 31st of December 2023. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you. As mentioned, presenting our financials for the first half of the financial year. So we're 50% of the way through the year. So you'll notice through the report there are references to how far our actuals are in comparison to our budget and our newly adopted forecast. So our officers have undertaken the forecasting process. We are now sitting in a forecast operating surplus of 7.1 million compared to our original budget surplus of 5.9. So there are some waterfall charts there that explain the movement. It is largely due to some gains in our rates revenue process. So obviously when we set our budget, we set it based on the parameters that we have at the time, the properties, the circumstances, and then when we raise the rates, sometimes there is a slight fluctuation or difference. And we've also had an uplift in our general purpose grant based on the amount that was received in June of 2023. So we've updated what we're expecting to receive, hopefully, within the 23-24 financial year. Just going through here, I'll touch on a few points. Our total recurrent revenue is at 40.55% of our forecast. There are still some large receipts to be received in the second half of the financial year, including our income tax equivalents and also our financial assistance grant. Interest revenue, we are receiving in our current term deposits up to a 5.41% return.
That's through Treasury.
No, those are through term deposits. So Treasury is paying up to 5.15. We do have term deposits that are fetching something a little higher. Yeah. Recurrent expenditure is at 49.28% of our forecast, which is nearly bang on the nose, which is pleasing to see. We've also touched on our capital expenditure here. Something that I would like to draw your attention to in the forecasting process was our REPA work. The reconstruction of essential public assets through the QRA. Flood damage. So originally
Thanks, yes, it was an acronym and I'm going, what is REPA? All of a sudden we've gone from a budget from here to there and it's just, and I'm going, what the?
Yeah. It's actually come out of your operating account. It's just the same dollars. It's just
yeah.
So when we were preparing the budget, we were still very early in that process of submitting those claims. So we made the assumption at the time that we would segment the work in our operating profit and loss, which had both income and expenses, so no actual impact to the bottom line. Since then, we've taken both out and put them into our capital budget as it's become apparent that the work is capital.
So it's a regional what?
Reconstruction of essential public assets.
Reconstruction of essential public, okay, thanks.
That's it. So when we look at our capital expenditure, you'll notice that our budget for capital has gone from 68.6 million up to 104.4 million, which is the movement of that work from operating to capital. Also touch on our outstanding rates. So at the end of December, we had 6.14% outstanding compared to 7.25% at the same time last year. So we continue to see some really great work in that space. It's also been noted that the debt admin procedure this year included emails and SMSs as part of the reminder process, which yielded a 40% increase on payment arrangements from the prior year. So an additional 1.6 million under payment plans than what we had previously. So it's a good effort with a good return. Also got our sustainability ratios presented. The biggest change in there I'll note is that asset sustainability ratio due to that additional capital for the REPA work. That work is largely renewals, so that's going to give us a surge in our asset sustainability ratio that's forecast there. Happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Jess. Questions for Jess, please. Councillor Cameron.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Jess, just on the ratios there, I believe they're sort of out of skew a bit because of the Gore Water Board security.
Yes.
And the refinancing, which nothing we can do about that.
Yes.
With the Gore bit, is that got a tenure or is that going to be there forever?
The
Security.
the security. So the one that's affecting, first and foremost, is the 5-year operating surplus ratio.
Yeah.
So we have a sizable deficit in our 5-year history, which will obviously fall off at some point, and we won't have that reflecting that way anymore.
Okay.
We do also reflect a liability on our balance sheet pertaining to that, which would be impacting. No, I don't believe that one is impacting at the moment.
Righto.
The other one that is impacted just by the point in time that we find ourselves in the year is our leverage ratio.
Yeah,
So that one
see
is
that.
best measured at the 30th of June each year. So
Yeah.
hard to keep a track of that one
Okay,
as the
yeah.
year goes through.
Okay. But so that GORB stuff should turn around in 5 years?
It won't be a whole 5 years. I think that was recognised in the 2021 financial statements. So we're already 2 years through that period.
Okay. That doesn't put up any red flags from Treasury or anything?
I don't think so. It's
Or
not
the
been
asset? No? Okay.
not been indicated to us that it's
Thank
a
you.
problem. It was an extraordinary event, and it's well
Yep.
understood what it was.
Okay. Thanks, that's it.
Any further questions, councillors? Nothing online. Can I get a mover for the officer's recommendation then, please? Thank you, Councillor Muscat, and seconded Councillor Cameron. Sorry, Councillor Branthwaite, Ms. Judd. I'll put the motion. All in favour? Thank you. Carried. Righty-go. And the final agenda item is G 4.11, the cancellation of the general meeting on the 19th of March, obviously due to the council election. There'll be no point in having a council meeting on that day. It'll be impossible.
Happy to move.
Thank you. Move, Councillor Churchill, seconded by Councillor O'Grady. Put the motion. All in favour? It's very self-explanatory, that one. Okay, thank you. Jess? Well, any councillor reports? I have no written councillor reports, so is there any verbal councillor reports? No verbal councillor reports. Very good. No urgent businesses, no notices of motion, no confidential items. Before I close the meeting, I'd like to wish happy birthday to my son Joshua and to Councillor Muscat's son Thomas, both celebrating their birthdays today, 22 and 15. Declare the meeting closed at 11 a.m. Cheers.